So, good afternoon. Welcome to our webinar, The Land is Your Office. So, this webinar is going to be about Land App Mobile. We'll talk you through a little bit about where Land App Mobile is really useful in terms of the land management process, and we'll do a bit of a quick demo and then drop into a Q&A. So, uh, I'm Simon Lee. I'm the go-to-market lead at LandApp, a bit of a new face to LandApp, so you won't have heard me on one of these webinars before. I'm joined today by Will Silvey, who's one of our account executives. Do you want to say hi, Will?
Hi everyone, good to see you. I'll be supporting with the Q&A and a few technical things for Simon in this webinar, but enjoy. Thanks for coming.
Yes, thanks, Will. So a little bit of housekeeping before we jump in. So your camera and microphone will be turned off during the webinar. You can ask questions at any time using the Zoom Q&A function. So you'll see that at the bottom of your screen. Yeah, feel free to stay around at the end of the webinar as well if you have any more questions. We'll be adding we're adding the webinar to our YouTube channel. It says about 3 to 5 days, but we're normally a little bit quicker now. So it'll be quite quickly afterwards. And we have a feedback survey at the end, and we'd love you to fill in that feedback survey just so we kind of know what you're interested in, other things you might be interested in hearing about in webinars. So yeah, if you can fill in that survey at the end, that would be great. So on the agenda, a bit of a welcome and info. Then we'll do a quick look at some of the recent product updates in LandApp, just in case you've missed them in product update emails. Then we'll dive into the live demo, and then we'll do a Q&A after that. But yeah, as we're going through, if there's any questions that come up, pop them in the Q&A button and we'll address them at the end of the demo. So obviously you're on this webinar now. We do post all our previous webinars on our YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com/landapp, you'll see the playlist there for our webinars. And some of our latest webinars are listed there. So site scoping, Will did a great webinar on how to look at the constraints and various factors that are around a piece of land. So to understand if it's good for potentially development or um, other bits of environmental data you might want to bring into that. So someone saying about double speech overlap, I can see. Oh, Karen, if anyone's getting the same, please pop in the Q&A. Then Dan from one of our directors did a farm diversification webinar, so I had a great panel there talking about farm diversification options. And then Will also did one afterwards, so people are saying it's fine. Great, thank you. So Will also did one on regenerative agriculture to show how you can map that out in LandApp, and that was a really good webinar as well. So upcoming events, so we're going to be exhibiting at the Norfolk Landscapes Conference and Exhibition on the October 29th. So that's a great event looking at, sorry. That's a great event looking at kind of how to fund environmental changes, technology mapping, things like tourism and kind of adaptive landscape. So we'll be there exhibiting. Dan, one of our directors, will be talking about our nature reporting function and essentially aligning supply chains to support farms and to make supply chains more resilient. So if you're going, we'd love to speak to you. Or if you're maybe thinking about going, yeah, definitely come along to meet us and to hear Dan's talk. So up to some product updates that you might have missed. So we brought some new data layers into LandApp. Things like a flood map for planning, so for flood zones, also important in invertebrate areas. In designations, you'll now find conservation areas in England. And the landscape, you'll now find the updated crop map of England from 2024. You'll also see a new section in data layers for schemes. So you'll be able to look at all the countryside stewardship schemes and areas in there. Also, all the sustainable farming incentive agreements and the woodland carbon code projects. If you're a pro user, you'll also be able to see all the B&G sites in that new scheme section. So that's a great new addition to our data layers. And also, if you're a professional user and planning, you'll be able to see the planning applications data layer. So you'll be able to see planning applications for the last 10 years, see where they are, whether they're live, whether they were rejected, or whether they're pending. So again, so a great new addition to our data layers there. Also, in our standard professional subscriptions, we've just added historic ordnance survey base maps. So those base maps are there from 1885 to 1913. And if you select that as your base map, you'll be able to zoom in and see different levels of detail. On the right-hand side there, so kind of like using the historic base maps for is looking at the base map and overlaying current land registry data to see how a landscape has evolved. So this one on the right-hand side is around Leamington Spa, which is where I'm based. And you'll see that that farm has then had a lot of development around it. A building's been built and a school has been placed where that farm was, a Sydenham farm. So that's something you can waste hours at just looking how a landscape has changed. So our users are using that for looking at where historic boundaries have been. So if they're looking at land transactions or land use changes, they can see where those historic boundaries have been. Also, again, just to see how landscape has evolved over time to understand some of the context and history. So yeah, great new feature in our base maps. You might also have seen that we've just updated our professional tier with property management integration. So any of you familiar with property management and leases and tenancies, you may have come across Re-Leased. So now you can link your Re-Leased account to your land app account. So then when you select a parcel or a building, you can link that to your Re-Leased account and see things like tenancy data, EPC ratings, if there's any like what your rentals are, who the property manager is, all that kind of data now brought into land app. So yeah, again, if you've got properties or land that you rent out, a great way to link it all together to show and to link your essentially your geospatial information now with your tenancy data. All these product updates can be found on our website. So if you go to community and click, you'll see our product updates page, and you'll see each month we post a product update, which runs through all the things that have been added to our free tier, all the things that have been added to our standard tier and our pro tiers. And a link is there if you want to go directly to that link. So Land App Mobile, that's why we're here for our Friday afternoon webinar. So Land App Mobile is available to our standard and professional users. You can find it on the relevant app stores. So if you're an iOS user, you can find it on the App Store there. Or if you're an Android user, you can find it on the Google Play Store. You will need to be on a standard and professional subscription before you log in. If you try and log in and you don't have a standard and professional subscription, it will say that you don't have an account that can access it. So you'll need to come back to the web, sign up for a standard professional subscription, and then you'll be able to enter through the app. There's some key features about Land App Mobile. So we really view it as your infill companion to Land App on the desktop. So it allows you to take your plans or your drawings or your maps into the field. Great uses for uploading geotagged photos, so for evidence in recording. We also see people using it for capturing asset data, and you'll see an example there on the side of the screen of going to a location and doing a site survey, and in this case, finding a gate that needs repair, and then logging that with a geospatially tagged photo. So giving it a name, and you'll see then you can go and find the photo and pull up its location, and if it's linked to any plans as well. So you could have a plan that's for maintenance, those kind of things. So great way to do that. Also great way to do more detailed surveying. So in the demo, I'll show you things like the soil survey, or actually how you can run a more a survey type workflow. Also, what I actually do is collaborate across the web and your mobile app. Also, if you've got multiple people editing the same map, it will allow you to integrate those changes and resolve any conflicts. So when someone is editing the map, it will lock it for other users, so you can't almost create double duplicates of data or conflicting data. So it will lock when someone's editing it, which is again a great feature. Take a sip of water. We like to say that our desktop app is where you get your complete toolkit for preparation and planning. So that's where you'll find all your planning tools, where you'll find all your key mapping tools, where you find your key drawing tools, and also your data imports. So all your data there as well. So it's a great way then to have all your data in one place. That's where you do your kind of like power user stuff. Land App Mobile then is your companion app. So it allows you to take those essential tools where you need them into the field. So if you're in capturing any data for evidencing for environmental schemes, if you want to capture any notes, any work orders. So if you're walking around an estate, for instance, and you see there's like a drain that needs repaired, like a gate example, you can do that. If you're walking crops and you want to note crop conditions, you can again do that as well. And also tracking where you are. We have a lot of users who say it's great for knowing where they are in their land holding. And also you can then kind of tweak plans as well on the map. And I'll show you some of that of actually when you can go out and you can split up a parcel and make some changes based on what you're seeing in context on the land. So hopefully that makes sense that you would do a lot of your planning and preparation on the desktop. Then when you jump to Land App Mobile, it's about those key tools you need when you're in context in the field to make those notes and observations and make those changes. So let's jump to a demo. Just unlock. Right. So on my screen, you should be seeing Land App on the right-hand side and Land App Mobile on the left-hand side. And this is just running off my iPad. So when you first go into Land App Mobile, what you want to have done first is create a new map in Land App. So you won't be able to create a new map directly in the mobile app. So always create your map first in Land App before you go into the field. That's kind of like the bare minimum thing you need to do so. When you land in the app, just a little bit of orientation. On the left-hand side, you'll see things like your profile, privacy policy, also a way to send feedback. So if there's any feedback you've got on the app, please do send it via that. Also, when you do that, if there's any issues you run into, it will allow you to attach your device log so we can see some more detail about if there's any issues. And again, you can change your land app password in there as well. So in this main screen, these are where you'll see all the maps that you've got, all the maps that are shared with you as well. So if anyone shared any maps with you, you'll be able to see them there. You can change your view here as well. So if you want to change this to more of a grid view to see all the maps you've got, you can do and drop back as well. There's also the ability to search. So if you use team tags within Land App, you can go and search in the different team tags. And actually I've created one for webinar here. So I'll show the map that's assigned to that team tag. So we'll jump in to that map, and this is where you land, and it's showing the blue dot of where I am at the moment, which is in the middle of Leamington Spa. In this screen, just to again give you some orientation, if you've got any photos on this map, this button here will turn them on and off. We don't have any at the moment, but I can show you that in a sec. Allows you to search, so if you want to search your location, you can do so there by postcode and things like what 3 words. On this right-hand side with these 3 dots, you have the ability to change the map you're using. So I'm using satellite at the moment. You could go in and change this to terrain or road. It does use the Google Maps maps in the background just because they're the best ones for mobile in this case. At the bottom here, you've got details about this map. So I created it today. There are 0 photos and 0 plans at the moment. And there we go. So that's what you get when you first come into your map that you've created. So one of the basic functions people use the mobile app for is for taking photos, which you can do by pressing this plus button on the bottom. So you can take a photo there. You can upload a photo from your photo roll on your device. You can also do measurements there. So if you're at a location you want to take some measurements, you can do so, or we can start a survey. So let's just show you how to take a photo just as a very basic use of that. You'll have to take a photo of my desk at the moment where I am at. If you want to take a photo, we'll call it Simon's desk. And if we turn photos on, it's just going to sync and show you that photo on that map there. So that's linked it to exactly where my GPS is finding me. And if I go up to here, I should be able to, if it wants to. I'll take a while to sync. There we go. That's got the photo there linked to that location of where I am. So yeah, that's kind of like one of the basic use cases of the app, but we'll run into a little bit more now. So again, if I said earlier, if you wanted to do some measurements, you can come in here and just go over here and just do some basic measurements based on where you walk around. So it'll take your blue pin of where you are. You can go away and just do some rough measurements. If you want to start doing some more detailed data collection though, what we want to do is go into starting a survey. So if we click on Start Survey, you've got a few different templates we use. So we have a survey as a structured way to kind of capture some data around a location or a plan. So you see general data collection here, which is capture notes, things like pictures and general areas of interest as you survey. We also have the Healthy Hedgerows survey, so made with the People's Trust for Endangered Species. So you can access and record hedgerow conditions like in accordance with SFI. A new one is the SFI moorland survey. So obviously you do your moorland surveys there and a soil survey, and I'll show you a soil survey in a minute. But we'll just do a general data collection survey. Let's call it footpath survey. We'll start the survey. So we'll move down here where I know there's some footpaths. So this is Newbold Common if you're familiar with Leamington Spa. And we can see there's a footpath here. So we could then now start taking, oh, no, sorry, change location. Let's go back. There we go. Sorry if it's giving you any motion sickness. So we actually may want to start drawing some features on our map. And you'll see on the right-hand side here, because I've started a survey, I've actually got an automatically got a plan created in LandApp on the desktop. So we started a survey and it's automatically created that plan so you can see how live the sync is. So let's create a line maybe of because we want to map out or record where this footpath is. So at a point, obviously if I was walking around, the blue dot would be following me, so I could use that as my reference point. Just do that there, create a point, add a point, add a point, and done. And you see now this should, there you go, update live in my LandApp screen on the right hand side here. So I've done that survey, I've created that line, I could assign that now to, let's call it a footpath there. So you can start assigning those feature types and create any notes you want to within the app. So that's one way to do it. So to start just capturing data directly on the mobile app, there is a way to maybe make this a little bit more relevant by first prepping your map before you go out into the field. So we've got this data here, but we could, let's delete that. We could start bringing in some mapping data to help us with our survey. So I've just turned on interactive map for Ordnance Survey. I'm now going to start drawing a line. Because I've turned on interactive map, this means my drawing features will now snap to Ordnance Survey map. So I can go here and actually follow the Ordnance Survey data to do so. I've now got my line which will update. So I've used the Ordnance Survey data to then pre-prep my map before I go out into the field, and I can then land at mobile once it syncs. Is it syncs? I've got that feature. I can assign that feature type. Again, I'll assign it to footpath. I could also go out and split this. I could also go out and redraw it. So actually, when I've gone out into the field and if I found that it's not an accurate representation of what's there, I could go out and edit this now within the field. Another way you could also do this is to bring in information from a data layer. So if we go to data layers and type in public rights of way, for instance, we've got these public rights of way. And also we've got the river here. So let's bring in a flood zone as well. Great. So we've turned on these data layers. Hopefully you're familiar with the concept of data layers in LandApp, so you can overlay all this kind of geospatial and environmental data. So we've got these known public rights of way. What I'm going to do is shift select, and I'm going to copy these to a new plan. I'm going to call it footpath survey 2. on my internet. There we go. It's just a little bit slow. So I've got my footpath survey too. So I was down here. So if I turn off that, you can see now, and I've turned off my data layers. I've now brought in this data around the footpaths and also the flood zones as well. Oh, I need to bring in flood zone. Let me do that. Flood zone. Let's copy that one to our footpath survey too as well. Let me turn that off. So I brought in the known flood zones and the known public rights of way around this location. And you'll see on the left-hand side, it's now syncing back in Land App Mobile. If I go back, just going to wait to update. You'll see here, because I created a plan on Land App on the desktop, it's not yet synced to this device. So the first one we created, the footpath survey, originated on Land App Mobile, therefore it's synced. Because I created one on the desktop, I need to now just make sure this is synced. So footpath survey there, clicking that down arrow on the right hand side will download it to my device. I can now go in and you'll see that combination of data layers has now been brought in to help me inform my survey when I'm out in the field. So I've now got a polygon representation of the flood zone and a polygon representation of the footpath around that area and within that flood zone. And then now I could start doing other things around there. So I could go and make an observation, or I could go and inspect a point on that footpath to see if it's again. Maybe there's a bridge there. I could then go and make some notes about its location, etc. And if it's in good condition, because obviously it's within a flood zone. So it's a great way to then bring in your data from your data layers to then help your surveys when you're in the field. And yeah, it should be updated on the right-hand side here with that bridge I just captured. So again, a great way to unite the two. Let's go back and look at more surveys, because I said we could do some more surveys. So we just did a general data collection survey. Let's go and look at what a soil survey looks like. So if we select soil survey, we can then start a survey. Let's go back down to our location on New Old Common. There it is. Let's do it in this field here. So because we're doing a soil survey, it won't allow us to do an area or a line. We just link to a point. We want to go and do a soil survey here. We assign feature type. It'll give us two options, so we can choose an infield sample or a lab sample. So if you want to go and get the spade out, we can go and take an infield sample. So let's just choose infield sample. If we pull up here, we've got all the things we want to collect for a soil survey sample. So we'll call it soil survey. It's already populated for an infield survey. Visual evaluation of the soil structure. We'll say it's firm. We'll say it's very compact. Number of worms, I don't know, 12 worms. Aggregate stability after 5 minutes. We'll say it's angular pieces. We'll say it's angular pieces. And that's our survey complete. We should then have our survey then reflected here in Land App. So we can click on our survey. We've got all our data captured here. So we've got our survey. We said there was 12 worms in this survey. We said the soil breaks up into angular pieces, and this can be edited from within the app or from within Land App. So again, so a great way to just immediately update and show that soil survey data. So hopefully that shows you some of the workflows in Land App. Let's look at some of the more maybe involved workflows. So let's move over on Land App to Red House Farm over here. And let's import some data about Red House Farm. So I'm going to import, I'm going to pick from Land Registry, so the land parcels from Land Registry. This could be an import from the Rural Payments Agency. So if you've got an SBI number, you can do the same. I'm just going to pick from Land Registry and pick these parcels around here. Let's choose that one as well. Let's also choose these and choose these. Choose that. LandApp will then ask you which template you want to use. I'm just going to choose a basic payment scheme, but obviously this could be an SFI template or the countryside stewardship template. I'm just going to choose a basic payment scheme, and I'm going to choose, call it Farm Land Registry Parcels. Choose Finish. That's brought them into a new plan here called Farm Land Registry Parcels. If I go back to our map on LandApp Mobile, it's just going to update and say there's a new plan that I might want to download. Let's go back to our map here first. You'll see now I've got 4 plans, 3 on the device. I'm going to bring in our farm land registry parcels. I've got those brought down into LandApp Mobile. So I can click on these parcels. Because I bought it in a template, actually I can start assigning features based on that template. So for this one, we'll say that it's, let's choose field beans. And then you see that's instantly reflected across into LandApp. So this could be that you've got some land parcels, you actually then go out into the field and you capture what's within those fields. Obviously, this is quite a large land parcel. If this was an import from an SPI number, it would actually be broken down into the various fields. And again, we can go and do the same with these other parcels over here and assign a feature type. And let's say that this is some temporary grassland, which it isn't, but it could be. And maybe this one will say is hard standing. Okay. So we've got those instantly reflected on the right-hand side in LandApp. As I said, this might be broken up into more parcels if it was an import from an SBI number. But because you've got these, actually, when you're out in the field, you can then go and modify these parcels. So you could actually say, I want to split this one up here. So again, this would be following around the blue dot if I was there, but I could go across here. Now you'll see I've split up that parcel based on, I've gone out into the field and decided that that's actually a separate parcel. And you can see it's reflected here in LandApp on the desktop. So again, I can go in there and now change that to, yeah, change it to temporary grassland as well. So again, I'm assigning features when I'm on the field, when I know the context, but I've used the data from the desktop to help me before I go out into the field. That's a great way of helping you not work from scratch in the field. A nice little feature I use as well is if you go to all the relevant parcels that you're going to be looking at, if you go and shift click them on the desktop, so let's choose all these, and create a new attribute. So I'm actually going to create one for inspection dates. I'm going to create a date, let's call it today. I'm going to show it on the map. And create a new attribute while all those are selected as well. I'm going to call it crop condition. I'm going to choose text. I'm going to show that on the map as well. So now if we jump back to mobile, when I've got all these parcels and I'm out in the field, I will then see all those attributes for those parcels I just created because I did the shift select. So now if I want to go to this one, you scroll down and you'll see these new attributes I've created at the bottom. So we can say that actually I inspected this on the 14th of October. Crop condition was good. Maybe I then went to this one We said that's temporary grassland, but we'll just say we inspected that today, and maybe that's struggling. Again, you'll see it sinking, and then now in Land app on the right-hand side, you'll see we've got that data pulled out there and overlaid on the map. So I've got all my observations there, and I've done essentially a survey in a slightly different way. So I've defined what I want to be in those data points I'm going to capture about a piece of land. So inspection date, crop condition, but those could be anything you want them to be. But you just need to make sure you select all the relevant parcels first by shift clicking and then creating a new attribute, and it'll be relevant for all of those parcels. So again, a great tool to almost create a custom set of data you want to capture. And we could do the same then if you were looking at things like tenancies. So let's go and do the same for these buildings over here. I'll create a new plan. Use template, use blank, and I'm just going to draw for this one, and I'm going to call this properties. And choose finish. So let's turn these off, these off, and we'll turn interactive map on, and we'll just capture these properties here. So maybe these are properties within my land holding, or I've got potential tenancies. Let's do one more. Perfect. So I've brought those in. I've created a new plan. Land app is syncing on the left. Land app mobile is syncing on the left-hand side here. Just wait for it to update. Next stuff. Let's go back in. See again, 5 plans for on device, because I created this properties plan on the desktop. Oh, no, wrong one. Just want to download it there. So now we've got those properties brought in. So then, in the same way I did the new attributes for those fields, we can do exactly the same for those properties. So if I shift select all these properties and I create some new attributes, so I'm going to create inspection date. Spell today, inspection date. And we'll set that as today's date. We'll show that on the map for all of those. We'll create a new attribute that is status, which is text, again shown on the map. And then we'll create new attributes of condition. And we'll show that again on the map. So Land app mobile is syncing on the left-hand side here. Wait for it to finish its sync. Okay, properties. Now if we click on one of these, we can assign it as a building. You'll then see down the bottom, we've got those new attributes. So inspection date for this one, we'll say was the 14th of October. Status is vacant. Condition good. You'll see then there it's reflected on that map on the right-hand side with those data points. So again, another way of collecting data when you're working between the mobile app and the desktop app. So those are the main features of Land app Mobile. We can create those plans, those surveys. We can capture those photos. We can capture points of interest. We can work then between the desktop app and Land app Mobile to be able to use some of the data you can access on the desktop, but bring it then into Land app Mobile so you can improve your surveys and improve the data you're capturing out in the field. So that wraps up the demo. I think we'll move maybe to some questions and answers. So let's look at the questions and answers. Is there any ones I should answer, Will, or any ones we want to answer in a particular order?
Yeah, I've just been going through some questions that have come in. Got a lot today. Thank you, everyone,
Yeah, thank
for
you.
sending those through, which are in the answered section, Simon. So I think a couple of people asking around the GPS. So um, whether what the accuracy is in the Land App Mobile currently. And then also the question of where users have got a GPS extension for more accuracy or an integration, whether that's possible in Land App at the minute. Um, I don't honestly know the answer to that question, and I think it would depend on how that extension would affect the phone. Is it affecting specific apps
I,
and how they use GPS, or is it affecting the phone's GPS and how Land App mobile app actually um, controls GPS? So I
yeah,
don't know if you can
it,
add
it, it
anything
is
there.
it is something we've looked at. We've had people ask that question as well, so it's currently in our list of things to look at. So yeah, we're aware of the GPS essentially extenders to improve accuracy. So yeah, it's something we're working on, but um, yeah, no, no answer for when it might arrive.
Okay. Great. So as long as we're aware of it. So can you use a tablet as well as phone? Yep, I think Simon, you're using a tablet right now.
I'm using a tablet, so I'm using an iPad Pro running the Land App mobile app. Um, Also, if you're running a tablet, you can access Land App in your browser as well. So there are different ways to do it. So if you want to use the full Land App experience on the tablet, you can do so and then swap to Land App mobile when you're in the field in that way as well. So yeah, there are a couple of different ways to do it, but a tablet is a great almost halfway house where you can use both Land App experiences.
Great. No, it's good to have that dual device function. And then one from, I think it's from Sarah, of can you actually view photos on the desktop as well as the mobile app? And the answer is yes. So I don't know, Simon, you mind getting Land App up and just showing Sarah and the audience how you can view photos in the desktop too. So if you look at
Yeah,
the bottom left, Simon, it says photos
yeah,
and
yeah,
that toggle. Once that is turned on, so the photos is showing everyone your location, Simon, but that's okay. It should be, yeah, there
yeah.
we
There
go.
we go.
That little orange um, camera icon, and then clicking on that on your map, you'll see that photo pop up and any
Yeah.
data assigned to it there.
The thing to know with this one is it's not linked to any plans at the moment. That's the one I took right at the start before I had any plans on the device. I could now go and link this to a particular plan. So I can click here and add this to one of these plans. The same, you can do it when you actually take the photos, or you can link it to one of these plans. So if I want to put that to properties, I could link that. So that's now linked to that plan as well. So a couple of different ways to bring photos in.
Yeah. And it relates to another question that we had around linking photos. So I think it was around feature level linking. So at the
Mm.
moment, you can only link at the plan level, photos to plans. You can't at the moment link photos to features, although that definitely is an ambition of ours. Just technically, we're working that out of how to actually build that into the mobile app, appreciating that that finer granular detail is a valuable thing. So yeah, I think that's definitely on the roadmap for this. It's just whether when that will happen, we're not too sure on our side,
Yeah,
but
it's
definitely on
definitely
our radar.
definitely on the radar. It's definitely highly requested from our users to be able to do that with features to then get more, as Will said, more granular if you're capturing details about assets or hedgerows, for instance.
Right. So then I wonder, Simon, whether we just work through all the
Yeah,
open questions
yeah, we've
now.
got 12 open ones.
Uh, Maybe starting from the top then, from Anonymous. Can you export the photos into a schedule, for example, when undertaking a farm schedule of condition where it would be produce a reference map with point references to the photo schedule? So you can schedule. We could work it out. So if you've got this plan open now, Simon, and the photo there, and then went into the table view for this
Yep.
plan and scrolling across, if we haven't got the photo there.
We've got the
Oh, there we go.
yeah, there we go.
It might be that, but if it was linked, there's some data perhaps.
Yeah, it's because I tried to link one that wasn't linked to this plan originally.
Yeah. So it from this, we can confirm that photos should come up on the table view.
Yeah.
So they can be downloaded as a schedule. Um,
You can also export them and include link photos when you export your plan as well. So if you were to export the shapefile, you can then get the link photos and exports out of LandApp.
Great. Yeah, I think that's answered that question. Nice. And then moving on, is altitude captured with the GPS data? And is there any way of showing this on the plans? It would be great to get more accurate data on slopes and the OS contour lines. Good question. So I don't think altitude is captured through the GPS and the mobile
It's not at the
app,
moment, no.
but as well as the OS 50 terrain data layer, which does show the contour lines, in the standard and professional subscriptions, we have two things that will help with this. It's A, we have Environment Agency's LIDAR as a base map. I don't know, Simon, if you can get that up. Um, for England at the moment, we're looking at getting Scotland LIDAR in soon. But this is going to help with altitude. And then also, you probably don't have time to run it, but you might squeeze it in, Simon. We have something called a slope identifier, um, which will, again, available to standard and professional users. You can basically download a brand new plan. You got it with um, showing the different inclines in different colors. So 11% degree would be a dark blue, and then a 2 to 3 degree would be kind of a light shade of green to show those different almost heat um, and contrast between the altitude and slopes, as well as the direction of those slopes as well. You do need an SPI number for that currently, I think, but I might be wrong there. So if you are in standard professional subscription, do check that out. So it might take a
It
couple of
might take a
minutes,
while, yeah.
but the LiDAR's there, which is a great one for altitude. Okay, question from Adam. Thank you, Adam. Can the app track where you walk to record route automatically on the map? So you can almost do that, say if you're in a car or if you're walking. If you draw a line and just hold that line, move where you need to move, and then at the point, you can kind of make this route. But at the moment, all the lines in the mobile app are straight lines. So if you're doing quite a detailed or squiggly route on your map, it's not the most practical currently. But I think once that function to get flexible lines on your map, you'll be able to create that kind of record of where you've been walking. Um, I don't know if you can, probably not because you're at your desk, Simon, but out in the
Yeah.
field, it would just be a case of moving along, adding a point, and then continuing as you go along that route.
That's why I showed the ability to bring in data layers or Ordnance Survey data to pre-populate. So actually, if you've got something which is a bit more complex, you can bring in that data first and then go out and refine in the field rather than trying to draw it from scratch in the field. So it's a good way to use the desktop app and the mobile app together.
Great. Then moving on to Sarah. Again, thank you, Sarah. Can you start a survey via an existing plan? I can't seem to find the start survey button whilst having an existing plan open. So you should be able to. I don't know if you work through it now, Simon, in that, say if you've got, you could check of any other, there we go. So from any map that you open in your mobile app that you've created already on your desktop, you can download onto your mobile app. So that's kind of using a new or editing an existing plan. Um, you can also set up a survey for your mobile app from the desktop as well, create from an existing plan. So it would be a case of, I think on your desktop, Simon, just copying one of those plans that you have already into one of the mobile app survey templates. So that could be the
Hmm.
healthy hedgerow survey, the general data collection, the soil survey, and hopefully quite soon the habitat survey coming out. And then you'd see that on your phone and that would be ready for you to map in the mobile app. So renaming that to healthy hedgerows. And that should be good to go when you're out in the field. And then from the mobile app itself,
We've both got any questions, then you can
I don't know whether
focus
yeah,
on
you
that.
want to click new survey at the bottom. It probably won't build on an existing plan, I don't think. Maybe start new survey at the bottom there, Simon.
Yeah, that'll create a new plan, won't it?
Yeah, so it won't use an existing plan, but you should be able to tee yourself up from your
Yeah,
desktop.
there you go. So we've got the line that I brought in that I converted to copied across to a healthy hedgerow survey. And now when you click on it, you've got all the information related to a healthy hedgerow survey.
Knowledge. So yeah, I found that I've been missing details until I go to a team member.
Okay. We've got 12 minutes less and 13 questions left, so let's try and get through most of those. Do you have to start the plan online before you head out to do the survey? No, you don't have to. You can just start the survey straight away from the mobile app out in the field if you wanted to. Um, but generally, our philosophy has been, as Simon explained, using the desktop and the mobile app in tangent where you can, just to get everything set up for you in your mobile app before you get out there. But absolutely, Kaz, if you want to start from the mobile app or a different survey, you can do so. When from Anonymous, when taking photos, does that upload there and then, or can that be done later to save data? Yes. So um, I think you can upload once uploading, or when you need to upload photos, they'll sync to your map once you have data. So you could do that without data on, take photos. They wouldn't sync straight away. Once you did have signal again, they should be all linked where they need to be. So yeah, you can do it that way. You can also upload photos in bulk as well to the mobile app too. So I've seen users in some cases be out in the field without signal or data, take a load of photos, and as long as the geolocation data is on using GPS, that will all save. And then once they're back at their desk, they can just upload those photos in bulk. As long as they have that geolocation data on, they should place exactly where they were taken on the map. So there's different ways you could do it there.
Yeah, and it's worth saying just make sure you select that GPS data is on your device. I think if it's an iOS device, is it on by default? If it's an Android device, it might be off by default. So it's worth checking before you go and take those photos as well.
Great. Um, Another one from an anonymous. I'm yet to describe download. What data sources, if any, are available on desktop and mobile with regards to coastal zones and in particular intertidal events? So we don't currently, from my knowledge, cover anything around coastal zones or intertidal extents currently. We're very aware that there's open source geospatial data sets around those, but I think it's just purely been so far a um, land-based strategy for us at the moment. But if there is a demand from users, that's always good to know. And as long as those data sources are open source, our product team and technical team can consider those. So I will mark that down as this was raised and share that with those team internally. So thank you. question from Neil. If we're using an Apple phone in the field and Microsoft Windows computers in the office, will the plans still sync okay? Yep, they will. Doesn't matter about differences there. It's all connected via the app rather than what device or provider you're using.
Yeah, so Land app is obviously running in your browser, so it shouldn't be a problem. Another one from Neil. Does the area mapping measurements work satisfactorily under tree cover? Yes, it's all obviously all down to your GPS connection from your phone or your device. So yeah, it will work satisfactory. Obviously, as long as you have GPS access. But as we all said, there are things that sync when you get back to GPS or when you get back within mobile signal. So, yep. Can I change the color of a marked route created with PC on mobile? I don't think you can yet, can you, Will?
I think you can.
Can. I
You can
missed that
change the
one.
styling,
Let's
but
go and find one. We had the farm parcels. Can we change the styling on mobile?
yeah, I might be very wrong there that you can't. Maybe if you click the little pencil to edit.
So you could change the
Yeah.
feature to
So
assign, yeah.
yeah, you can change the feature type. And that should populate a different styling, but to change the actual styling yourself in the mobile app, you can't do just yet. But thank you, Rupert. One from Michael. With the soil sample map, can you put all the collated data, say 10 sample holes, into a graph or spreadsheet from that app map? You can. So after plotting all of that data and your different sample holes, I think as Simon showed earlier, you're able to export any tables or tabular data from your maps into a CSV, and that'll be ready for you. So that will have all the, depending on the template type or the different attributes you've assigned to the different points, features in the map. So the answer is yes to that. Another one from Anonymous. Is there a way to make sure photos taken within the app also save to my camera roll? That has definitely been requested. I don't think at the moment we're able to allow for that. So photos taken in the mobile app don't save to your camera roll, I don't think. Currently. Correct me if I'm wrong, Simon, but
No, I believe that's the case.
yeah, that's definitely a function I think we need to bring in. There is a way, I suppose, of getting around that. So once all your photos are in your app and on your plans, you can then export those plans from the desktop version and save those somewhere. So there's kind of a workaround with that. But yeah, that's definitely a function I think we would be bringing in the future.
There's also the option to upload from your camera roll. So rather than take the photos directly within the app, you can go and take them within your Photos app on your device. And as long as GPS is on, you can then go into the app and upload them, which means you get a copy in your camera roll and within Land app as well.
Great. Can you select multiple features within the phone app and add additional attributes as a multi-select function, or is this only possible in the desktop? That's only possible in the desktop currently. So you can't multi-select different features in the mobile app. Likewise, that Simon didn't cover is that currently you can't view data layers in the mobile app like you can in the desktop. That's been another request from users that I think we're going to look into. But again, most of this is coming down to how the mobile app's technically built, and we're still navigating all of that. Um, but it's, yeah, rest assured, as things develop, more functionality will come through. But yeah, multi-select is a good one. Likewise, changing styling and data layers. So yeah, thank you for that.
And just touches on what we said about the prior prep as well. So if you want to bring the data layer stuff in, if you prior prep and select it and copy it across to the relevant plan, can do, obviously, to then you've got it to the hand when you're in the field.
Sure. Question from John Beach. Is there any way of linking photographs from drones to land app for things like roof condition on properties, etc.? Very good question. Simon, I'll let you answer that one.
It's again something we're looking at the moment. So things like geotiffs to be able to do so. So yeah, it's in our pipeline of features. A few people have requested.
Oh, I think Simon's frozen. But yeah, that's definitely a request, whether it's raster images, whether it's WMS feed, even. We're still working out how that might happen. I think certainly for the WMS feed, that's probably more likely um, to happen in the near future, hopefully. But yeah, thank you for that question. It does come up a lot recently, so
Sorry, I froze there.
no problem. You're back now.
Back now, yeah.
Uh,
You got the answer there, Will. It's cool.
yeah, great. We've got four left in 3 minutes, and let's see if we can get through them. Can you create a 10-hectare grid square on the desktop and then export to mobile app and take more than survey? Yes, you can. So we have a SFI Moreland survey template available, and we've got a partnership going on with Foundation for Common Land, which we're really pleased about. So various members of that team are really supporting different users in helping with those types of surveys. So I think the next step for you, Ben, is to get in touch with Foundation for Common Land, who can set you up right away and get you supported on creating that survey. So it's a good one to flag, and thank you. I think Simon's showing it now, but you'll have that grid format and you'll have those different samples populated within that grid randomly. Okay. Another one from Anonymous. Is there any possibility in adding auto numbering so that the numbers go up as you add a point rather than having to type in each individual number?
Great question. I'd say yes, there is. So again, we'll look at it in our roadmap. But yeah, it's a great suggestion. I love that. The numbers just go up. Nice. So yeah, to anonymous attendee, yes, we'd love to do that, and we'll feed that back to our product team. I think that's a great suggestion.
Great. And then last two from Shane. Will we be able to have field names and numbers on the mobile app? This would help to find the correct field to do so on the job. So, good question. So in the mobile app, oh, we've just got that slope identifier come through. So in the mobile app, any data that sits within the feature, depending what template it's in, so that could be a field name, it could be a field parcel number, parcel ID, could be a, a CS option, or it could be a habitat type or whatever. You'll be able to view that attribute data when you click on the feature in the mobile app. Another aspect of the mobile app that we need to work out is being able to turn on labels like we have in the desktop that you see there. So I've just got three different labels on. Currently, we can't turn on labels into the mobile app, but rest assured, you can see the name. So we've got big field there, and the different attribute has been given. And then if you scroll down, you'll be able to see all that attribute data. So, um, yeah, there could be different ways in which you style different field parcels to track what they are, but yeah, appreciate that's another piece that's currently missing that would add value in the mobile app. So again, on that one, we'll take that away and share with the product team. And then second question from Shane. After loading up photos into LAMP, can you remove them off the map? Also, if you remove the photo off your phone, it will be removed off Land app. So I've never actually tried that before, but I know from the desktop that you can delete photos. Whether you can do it on the mobile app, I don't actually know, but I think Simon's going to demo it now.
I don't think you can.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't
So you
delete off the
can
mobile
edit
app.
descriptions, but you can't delete off the mobile app. And then in the desktop, you should be able to delete photos by either delinking it from the plan or I believe right-clicking on that photo and clicking delete like there. So it's a right click in the bin on that drop down. Do bear in mind, once deleting, it will be gone. You won't be able to recover it. But I appreciate, I think that relates to your question of that would be the benefit of having it saved on your phone, right? In case you have deleted it, being able to go back to it. So yeah, I think saving onto the phone would be a crucial one.
Yep.
But okay, we got through all of it and we're reaching
Yeah.
time.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Just to say, if there's any other questions you've got after this, if you drop an email to support@thelandapp.com. Remember, there'll be a survey when we finish this webinar, and we'd love you to fill in that survey just to capture a couple of questions about other things you'd be interested in hearing during webinars. And yeah, thank you very much for your time. Thank you.